Okay, Khan Shalom Akim Kahalalim La Yahaba Shim Yashab Bashim Rakakudash and double on Instagram as on apostles. Thought Yahweh, thought Yahshua for strength once more to the part 2 of the previous video, which is called True Deep Brotherhood is What We Have. That was the name of the video. True Deep Brotherhood is What We Have. And I think I finished. What precept did I even get? Yeah, I was reading Matthew 6 about the fact that, the Most High will look after us in the time to come. The Most High will look after us in the time to come. In Jacob's trouble specifically, because that's when, many Israelites are going to be filled, going to be weak in faith because they ain't got Yahweh, Yahushua in order to support them. But we, having the opportunity to actually have our faith in Yahweh, Yahushua, to be able to call upon his names, we should use it. And of course, we should also make ourselves worthy of receiving those miracles in order to help us in the time to come. Which, by making ourselves worthy, is really doing the will of Yahweh, Yahushua. Continue these works, continue teaching, continue studying, to fill up ourselves with, to be able to produce rivers of living water. That's really what I'm trying to say. So, which is the wisdom of which you can then offer up to then preach and teach. Those are the rivers of living water. So yeah, that's pretty much Matthew 6 verse 25 to 26. We shouldn't worry about what we're gonna eat, what clothes are we gonna have. The Most High will provide that, man. In Jacob's trouble to come. You just gotta have that faith, man. You gotta have that faith. Now, speaking of this, I'm gonna read pretty much a few. It's not really a few, but some verses within Genesis 37, because of the fact that that's an example of how brotherhood can work out. Well, not work out. It's not gonna work out in flipping in a worldly sense, man, because this was about Joseph and how his brothers in the world, he pretty much treated them that way, man. That's the thing. But of course, the reason why I say in the world, because right now we have a temporary family of which, your brother, if you do have a physical brother or sister, may treat you, with a lack of respect and, may have hatred towards you as well. So, the point is the fact that the true brotherhood are not going to have that hatred, man, because, as I said, what unites us is doing the will of Yahweh, Yahushua. That's what helps us keep going. And that's really what unites us. That's what connects us together at the end of the day. But yeah, let me get Genesis. Okay, come on. It says Genesis 37 verse 3. Now Israel loved Joseph more than... And Israel is talking about Jacob, who was then named to Israel. So I think that was after he fought the angel. So Genesis 37 verse 3, it says, now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children. Because, he had 12 children. If you want to know about the list of them, really you can read Exodus 1 verse, I think, 3 to 5, then you'll see all the names right there. So those are the 12 children, which the 12 tribes then came from. So let me actually just read this. So this is Genesis 37 verse 3. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. So Joseph being the son of his old age, meaning he was the youngest. And it says, or at least part of the youngest. And he made him a coat of many colors. And verse 4, and when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him. So because of the fact that Israel, Jacob, loved Joseph more than the rest of them, his brothers, his brethren, start to have that hatred towards it. So verse 5, and Joseph dreamed a dream. Yeah, okay, cool. Actually, you know what? Let me see, because I was gonna actually, let me read verse 5. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. So really, after verse 5 is just Joseph then talking about his dream, saying that his brothers really are going to be under subjection, going to be under subjection under him. I don't know how that sounds, but parents are going to be in subjection under him. Yeah, that's the way. That sounds better. So, I'll read verse 7. That's one of his dreams. It says, "For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves stood round about, and made obeisance to my sheaf." Now, let me actually see what sheaf means and what obeisance means. If it's some kind of a plot or something. Yeah. Okay. So, let's see. So, sheaf, you got this.
Strong's H485. Aluma. Aluma.
Yeah, it could be Alama in the ancient Hebrew, but it says here Aluma. But anyways, sheaf, it says as something bound of Israel returning from exile. Let's see if there's anything else. Let me actually search what sheaf is. What is a sheaf? So a sheaf is a bunch of cereal crop stems bound together after reaping. Let me try to get this. Oh yeah, actually, yeah, fair point. So okay, I was just looking at images. But yeah, that's pretty much what a sheaf is. Don't know if you guys can catch that. Yeah, quality ain't the best, but it's pretty much like a plant. Some kind of wheat or something. That's what a sheaf is, man. So yeah, that's what a sheaf is right there. Okay. So that's a sheaf, and he's saying that. Let me get back to the precept as well. Come in this way. Alright, card and find it. So that was sheaf. And then in terms of obedience, I'm going to read the verse again. I'm going to read the verse again because he was saying that his sheaf, the sheaf that Joseph had was raised up, I guess, in a standing stature. Then the sheaf of there were 11 sheaves, or I'm going to read it again, but then the other sheaves were pretty much, I think they were bowing down to that sheaf that Joseph had, which really shows subjection. Yeah, see, it says it here. And the root word for obedience is shakar.
Strong's H7812. Shacha. Shacha.
Yeah, it says shachar. Shachar. So that's the word for obedience, which means to bow down, to depress. And that's pretty much it, man. It says other things, but the point is, it says to bow down and to depress, man. So of course it shows subjection, and that's made obedience. So let me read that chapter again. That verse. So Genesis 37 verse 7. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field. So you saw the binding of the sheaf, man, in the image. They were gathering sheaves and binding them up together. And lo, my sheaf arose, and all stood upright, And behold, your sheaf stood round about and made obeisance to my sheaf, which means to bow down. So that was one of the dreams that Joseph had. And obviously he had another one which also linked to that subjection too. But let me get to the point. Yeah, I'm coming this way. So yeah, so that let me skip down to verse 19, because that's also another key part as well. When his brethren, with the hatred within them, after they also had heard of Joseph's dream, they plan to pretty much do something to him. I'm going to read that right now. Genesis 37 verse 19. And they said one to another, behold, this dreamer cometh. Come now, therefore, let us slay him and cast him into some pit, and we will say some evil beast hath devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams. So, that was one part of the plan. Verse 21, and Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands, and said, let us not kill him. So, and then it said here, and Reuben said unto them, shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands, to deliver him to his father again. And it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat, his coat of many colors that was on him. So verse 3, when Israel gave Joseph a coat of rainbows, I think. Yeah. So even in verse 3 or verse 4, let me actually go back to that. Yeah, verse 3, Genesis 37 verse 3, Israel gave Joseph a coat of many colors. So let me get back to verse 20. But yeah, they were plotting against him, between verse 19 and verse 22. So let me read from verse 25 and then to 28. Yeah, let's just start from 25. So Genesis 27 verse 25. And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels, bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And read that again. And they sat, in Genesis 37 verse 25, and they sat down to eat bread. They lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels, bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah said unto his brethren, what profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh. And his brethren were content. So of course the plan that Reuben had was pretty much to put Joseph in the pit for the time being, and they took his coat from him. Then Judah also proposed, as soon as they were sitting down eating bread, they saw Ishmaelites passing by, and then Judah had the idea that, okay, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites. So, not knowing that they were pretty much setting in motion the dream that Joseph had, man, where his 11 brothers are going to be subject unto him. If you read the story onwards, Genesis 38, 39 onwards, you'll see that actually happens, man. You just got to keep reading it. Now, so verse 28, then there passed, so this is Genesis 37 verse 28, then there passed by Midianites, which is like I think a tribe within the Ishmaelite, nation. Midianites are like I think another tribe within the Ishmaelite nation. So passed by Midian, read it again, Genesis 37 verse 28. Then there passed by Midianites, merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph into Egypt. So that was the key point from there, man. And for those of you who have read the story, you know, Joseph pretty much his dream came true. That's the point. So, and then it's pretty interesting when you read it as well, man. You know, seeing how Joseph went from a lowly state as a slave to then being in a very high position within Egypt, man. Before we then get into Exodus where Israel went into a downfall, curses and slavery, shit. But yeah, anyways, man, that's the point is of this lesson's read of the brotherhood, man. That's not an example of what brothers would do to you. The point is the brotherhood is there to support you, man. So obviously, always know that if you're near brothers, if you're new to this truth, always know the brothers are there to trust you. As long as you keep laboring, as long as you are also united in the same way of serving Yahweh, Yahushai, doing the will of Yahweh, the brothers are there to support you, man. That's the point. And of course, you will have your own testimonies in time as well, of brothers supporting you. So, that's really the point of this lesson. Let me get one more, then I'll close out, man. And really, what happened to Joseph when he was thrown in the pit and sold to Midianites, to Ishmaelites? The thing is, that also reflects this precept here that I'm gonna get right now. A man's foes shall be they of his own household. Now let's see, where is it? No, let me actually type on the actual verse. Matthew 10. Because obviously, as Joseph's brothers were plotting against him, that's the same way your family could also be plotting against you when this beast system is going to be set up, man. They're going to be like, when they deem us as terrorists, your family members are going to be betraying you, man. Don't expect your family to flip and support you in that day, man. The same way Joseph's brothers were plotting against him, is the same your family is probably going to be plotting against you in that time to come. That's why all you got is Yahweh, Yahushai, and your brotherhoods, right? And the brotherhood that's on earth right now, man, that you're close to. So you gotta keep them close to you, man. So yeah, this is the final precept I was gonna get, because the story that I read pertaining to Joseph links to this precept as well, and the time that we're coming into where we're going to be betrayed. So prepare your mind for that. So yeah, Matthew 10 verse 36. And a man's foes, your enemies, shall be they of his own household, family. That's what it means. A man's foes shall be they of his own household. That's Matthew 10 verse 36. Which means the enemies of which you would have are going to be part of your family. That's the thing. That's why I mentioned betrayal, man. Prepare your mind for that. That's the thing. That's what would happen. And even your so-called worldly friends as well. Even, let's say they are Israelites, typically Jake hangs out with Jake. Even they themselves, they're going to be plotting against you as well, man. They ain't your so-called brothers. They're just temporary friends for an occasion, man. As going into Ecclesiasticus, I think it mentions about there's a friend for an occasion. They're just friends for an occasion. They're not your brothers. They are not your brothers. Your true brothers are those within this truth doing the will of Yahweh, Yahushai. As Yahushai mentioned, that my family, as he pointed to his disciples, my family are they who do the will of my Father which is in heaven. That's the key part. But yeah, man, this is just, some lesson based on brotherhood. The point is to cherish it and to also know that Yahweh, Yahushai, they work through the brotherhood, to protect you and guide you as well. So that's just, my take upon it, with the scriptures as well. Yaratazar, you did understand the lesson, and, we've got to keep enduring whatever we've got to go through, keep pushing as always, and, Yaratazar, you understood at the end of the day. So, Shalom, Kal Halalim La Yahweh Bashim Yahshua Bashim Hakwadash. Double on Instagram on apostles. And once more, I say every now and then, but Kal Halalim La means all praises to. Kal means all, Halalim means praises, and La means to. And then Yahweh, the name of the Most High in the ancient Hebrew. Yahweh Shai is the name of the Messiah in the ancient Hebrew. Ba Hashem means in the name. Ba means in. Ha means the. Sham means name. So through Yahweh Shai, that's how we get to Yahweh. That's why we say Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. And Bahasham Racha Kodash. Racha means spirit. Kodash means holy, which ultimately means Holy Spirit. So, of course, through the Holy Spirit, that's how we pretty much roll day to day, man. That's really the point. Producing these videos and guiding us with our decisions that we gotta make when navigating this world. So yeah, man, shalom, man. Yahweh Shemeshah Brakatha. And once more, double on Instagram with some apostles. Man, shalom.